A good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Ladies and gentlemen, dear organizers, thank you very much for inviting me for this session on innovation. And I've chosen a title which is called Innovation in Higher Education, and which is actually the passion that I'm working with at Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University. Thank you very much, ICDE, for inviting me. I hope I'm going to be able to add value to your esteemed conference this year. So I will start with highlighting actually the 3 points that I'm going to share with you today. One is what is innovation in a nutshell, and then the higher education institutions and innovation, which is actually what we are gathering here, and of course shedding light on how these concepts of innovation in higher education will be reflected at the experience of HBMSU, Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University in Dubai. So the vision of this man actually, which was the catalyst behind the establishment of Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University, and his vision was quite rigorous as well as advancement in the 2005 when he issued his book about the book called My Vision, and he was exactly what you are reading here in the slides. Is I'm convinced that teaching our children the same way we did yesterday is in itself perpetuating a new kind of illiteracy that no longer has a place in any society that wishes to join the global race. And I think that is the motivation behind that vision that established the Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University. Now, what's innovation? Actually, there are lots of meanings of innovation. Scholars did contribute to this, whether it's Michael Porter, whether it's Elizabeth at Harvard, and some others as well. And look, Michael Porter says innovation means offering things in the different ways, creating new combinations, introducing new technologies. And we have Peter Drucker. He's the founder and the godfather of modern management. Innovation is abandon traditional practices to be replaced by new practices. And Elizabeth, of course, and she's a professor of business at Harvard University. Innovation is generation and realization of new ideas, products, services, and processes. It is the bringing of any new problem-solving idea to the use. To a nutshell, I think I have introduced my own definition as well, is to introduce new or innovative ideas, goods, or services, whether in their nature or in the way that they're introduced to benefit customers and lead to the solving of one of the existing problems while using advanced technologies. Without it, we cannot advance. That's in a nutshell. Now, there are certain types of innovation that I would like the audience to be well aware of, the types of innovation. One was disruptive innovation. And the second, I would call it incremental innovation. And as you know, the disruptive innovation, of course, is a breakthrough. And what is the element of surprise in disruptive innovation is to the customers only. So whoever is going to be surprised by this breakthrough innovation is the customer. And of course, and you remember the Wright brothers when they, in December 1903, when they tried, it was not a surprise to them, to the innovators themselves, but rather than us as customers to be able to fly with that. And a surprise to the customers and innovators, of course, it happens in accidental innovation or innovation by chance, and that's an example of Percy Spencer, where we had they call him the electronics genius, when he discovered the chocolate on the waves that today we are enjoying the microwave because of his surprise as an innovator, as well as the customers that they use this heat. Now, the incremental innovation, ladies and gentlemen, is about incremental, of course. It's about gradual, innovation, and that is, of course, if we see the steam car in Paris by the French engineer Nicolas, if you see it in that one, And today, look at this innovation. It's the same concept, but it has been evolving incrementally across the decades and centuries in the world. Now, there is a unique equation that I would like to share with you today. Innovation, from my perspective, is a creativity. There is no innovation without creativity. Creativity, but the most important part, actually, is implementation. And that is the equation that it balances both sides. Innovation has to become an implementation. To call something innovation, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is not just that I can claim anything that is innovation. But there are several elements to be into that. And those are the novelty, of course, the positivity, of course, the utilization as a utility, the best value, best service, problem solving, as we alluded to in the definition. It has to solve a problem at hand. And technology, of course, is driven today, nowadays, into these. And of course, at the end is the implementation. That is the differentiating factor between what we had in mind, what we have in presentations, and what will be implemented on the ground. And that is extremely important in terms of the elements of to be called some product or some services or anything as an innovation. And like you say, Peter Drucker called it practice, as we saw. Professor Cantor calls it into use. And of course, Michael Porter called it creation. So it's a matter of putting all those two together. Here is the focal point of our speech today: innovation and higher education institutions. And I'm going to talk about two aspects. How am I going to attract innovation to my institution as a higher education institution? And the second, of course, is the impact. I cannot claim without implementation, without an impact, without an effect, that it has been done. So how to attract innovation to my institution? That's a very valid question. And of course, if I'm going to attract innovation to my institution, I have to abide with certain principles that it will create that particular momentum, particular ecosystem and culture within the institution itself. So it starts at all times with a strategic plan. It starts with a vision. My vision has to be able to contribute to the innovation. And if the vision doesn't contain something called about innovation, then how I'm going to be able to attract innovation into my culture of the organization? And not just only the vision, but it has to be reflected in the mission and the values as well as policies and procedures. So that's number one, how to attract. It has to become from the top. These strategic plans is coming from the top of the institution. And second is the scientific content. And I think, like the Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. The scientific content is extremely important. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. And I think these concepts into those are extremely important. And then, of course, the learning environment. How the learning environment is going to be able to help me if I'm going to praise education. Today, we cannot imagine, especially after the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. After the pandemic, it became very obvious that without technology, we cannot survive. Without technology, people will be deprived from education. Without technology, people will be sitting back and to their homes with doing nothing. And illiteracy, rather than to combat illiteracy, we're going to push them towards the illiteracy itself. So learning environment today with the technology is extremely important. And of course, we have to eliminate the fear. We need to be able to encourage failure rather than discouraging it, because innovation, it needs that particular culture. And then the faculty members, of course. The faculty will play a major role. Today, when they talk about faculty and their performance, of course, when we talk about upskilling, I mean, I wish that our faculty evaluation, the performance would be towards innovation. How much innovation they are bringing into the research that they do, and how realistic, how field work is going to be, the research going to be solving problems of the society and community at large. And the learners, the learner is extremely important because we need to push them towards the field community research in order for them to be able to solve the problem. Otherwise, we will be going back to traditional approaches that the faculty will publish, beautiful and amazing one of this research, but accumulation of theoretical without being anything applicable. And the second, of course, part, once if I chose the faculty, the learning environment, the learner, then the impact. Do I have an impact? I mean, I cannot say, okay, I've done my bit. I did bring in the innovation into my institution. I have the vision. I have the mission. But the implementation is important. The impact is important, ladies and gentlemen. Today, if I'm going to fuel innovation into the higher education institution, then I have to harvest the fruit out of it. And that's what we call a competitive advantage concept when the innovation is going to be fueling in. What are the most competitive, actually, advantage of higher education institutions? Number one is the rate of learning. How much I'm impacting the society, how much I'm reaching out to these people to learn. Am I confining myself with the students who are registered in the university, the learners who are in the university, or I'm doing beyond that to the community at large? So the rate of learning actually is happening. Is it a lifelong learning? Is it I'm going attracting the society and the community that I'm living in towards the learning or not? The second thing is the ecosystem. I mean, how can I claim the innovation and the ecosystem is somehow segregated and displaced within the organization itself? The hybrid model, if I'm going to be innovating, what is the ratio between the virtual and physical concept? I mean, the more virtual I have, the more innovation I have in terms of pedagogical approaches to the university, ladies and gentlemen. And I never teach students, what Kanishan says, to provide conditions in which they can learn, and just to be able to provide these conditions to the learners. And one of the concepts, of course, of the four pillars of competitiveness is the imagination, the power of imagination. Competing on imagination, ladies and gentlemen, that is our coming up activity, and I will urge the ICDE to be able to look into our institutions within the members of ICDE. How can we compete on imagination? And I think the true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, but rather imagination, as Einstein said. And the last one, of course, innovation is a lot of pain. Let me put it this way. It's a lot of pain. Unless we be able to develop resilience, we will not be able to sustain that innovation to go forward. We have been here in this business for the last 20 years as HBSU, and that is exactly what I'm going to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, what we have done as a part of innovation within the university. Now, the third thing is how to shed light on what our experience, ladies and gentlemen, was and is currently going on in Hamdan Mohammed Smart University. As I said, our vision, this is our vision. You see it clearly, to lead the smart learning innovation. We have included innovation for re-engineering the future of education and advancement of individuals, organizations, society. In this vision, actually, there are three components are essential in terms of when we talk about innovation. First, the word innovation in the first line. Then re-engineering the future of education. And advancement of individuals, organizations, society. So we're talking about rate of learning when we talk about competitiveness. How much we're going to be able to shed light. And then here was the mission. We are an academic enterprise which enables knowledge creation and application through innovation, disruption, and transformation. That's exactly the mission, because, ladies and gentlemen, unless our faculty, our learners, our staff, the whole administration would see these things on a daily basis, it will not go through. The upscaling and upskilling is not going to take place because they don't see things are moving into the real DNA of our institution. And the core values, ladies and gentlemen, we are learner-centric. We are game changer. We are, by the way, in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates, in this part of the world. We were the first people to use such a terminology in terms of values. Game changer. Who belongs to the HBMSU? A faculty, how can he claim that he is a part of game changing? How the learner will be a part of game changing, the role of those learners, as well as Together We Grow. We are talking about the partnership between public and private and academia, the PPP. And this partnership actually is going to be taking much more. The passion for results, because we do believe in results. As I said, as innovation equals to creativity plus implementation. The implementation has an impact, has with numbers. And the last one, again, in our values, the word innovation appears, fueling innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, HBMSU has been crafted with a blank sheet of paper. And that is the beauty that we believe that we are providing the world with this unique experience. And one of the things that we do also is our lifelong learning model. We were the first to be able to introduce the lifelong learning model in this region by introducing the 4 C's model, as you see in the pyramid. And it says it all, and that the picture says it all is, we provide opportunity for education from the year 7 to 99. It's a lifelong learning through the 4 C's model that most of you maybe came across it previously and as we go. And also, we were amongst the few that participated in the COVID alliance during the pandemic. We were amongst the first Arab university, the first university to join this coalition with UNESCO during the pandemic. And that was the global coalition of education that we were part of it, along with the giants of knowledge providers like Google, Facebook, and the others. And not only this, but where learning becomes fun. A gamification on a holistic approach, not on a course-based, but it's a holistic approach of gamification. We encourage the learners to be able to participate in this. And also, innovation survives because every year, every single faculty, every single learner will come across a scientific referee conference of ours, which we call it Innovation Arabia. And the last, but not the least, is our institutional outcomes on general skills. Academic excellence. Now look at the second one, innovation and analytical skills. Even the general skills that what characterizes and what differentiates our graduates from other universities in the region is because we equip them with these general skills as learners. One of them is innovation and analytical skills. By this, ladies and gentlemen, I conclude my talk. I hope that I did deliver some added value, and I hope you and for your conference a very successful days ahead. And I'm ready just to take any remarks or questions after this. So thank you very much. Thank you.